Look, while I have you, given Jim Chalmers was talking a lot about the intergenerational report and the challenges on the budget, you, of course, delivered a Commission of Audit report 10 years ago now to Tony Abbott and his government. Talked about a slowing of increases to the age pension, an increase in the retirement age to 70, and infamously the introduction of co-payments to Medicare and the inclusion of the family home in means testing for the pension. Now, not a lot got through, did it? How do you reflect on that now, particularly when we've got another Treasurer saying how hard things are on the budget going forward?
Andrew, I have to resist the temptation to say, we told you so. Whether it be the NDIS and government budgets, we did say so. And I think now, following COVID, most budgets and most states' balance sheets are looking very sick, other than WA. And we're at a crossroads now. We are really at a crossroads. And our economy is depending largely on the resources sector. The dreaded resources sector is the only thing that's maintaining our wonderful prosperity. And I think we have a time of reflection, and I think it's a time for governments to have a look at the past and return to being bold and brave in terms of government policy to lift our economy, to repair the budgets and state of our state finances, and to get the productivity going, and so that we can maintain this high level of prosperity, because we can't guarantee forever that the resources sector will always bail us out of any economic crisis.
Well, you're a former Business Council of Australia president. I might ask you about the government's IR reforms. What do you make of them?
Well, I think they could be. I think they're very damaging to productivity and not necessarily to the advantages of workers. We, as a group, business in Australia want well-paid, happy, safe, well-trained workers, but we also need to get productivity to pay for that, and so that combination is the foundation of Australian industrial relations. But if these industrial relations laws in fact worked against those things, then it will be bad in the short to long term for the Australian economy.
Well, another really vexed question that's arisen in the 10 years that I talk about is this housing affordability question. I mean, since then prices have doubled in Sydney. It just seems impossible for young people to get into the market, particularly with rates up. What should governments be doing about this?
Well, there's two sides of the question. I mean, Economics 101 says when demand exceeds supply, the prices go up. So you've got to fix supply. We've got, governments may be short of money. We've got trillions of dollars in the private sector looking for a home to invest in. Open up the market, get rid of these sclerotic planning laws and get the market moving, get the supply side moving, and you'll be surprised prices will come down. What a novel concept.
What do you make of, you mentioned the NDIS before, what do you think the government needs to do there? Should they take out some categories of disability? Should they means test the NDIS? What's the answer there to make it more affordable? Do you believe in it as a concept overall?
Look, I do believe in it as a concept. There's no magic bullet. They are doing now what we recommended they do back in 2014, which is do a detailed review of how it's going to be applied in practice and roll it out slowly, picking, say, one city at a time, and prove it as a model, get rid of the bugs in the system, fine-tune it, make sure it works before you roll it out to the whole country. Don't roll it out to the whole country simultaneously. That was a mistake that was made. Now we're living with the hideous consequences. Now they're doing that review. And all of those things you mentioned will be under review, and they've got to come up with a solution to make this affordable, or else it's going to eat the health budget and the old age budget. It'll be bigger than both of those combined, and that's not what's intended at the start. So we do have to be more careful and more precise. We've got to be careful about how much it's costing us to get the services to support these people. But, I think every Australian would say we should look after those people who can't look after themselves as well as we possibly can. That is an Australian tradition, and I don't think anybody would argue with that, but it's got to be affordable, it's got to be done economically, and it's got to be done sensibly.
I might ask you finally about The Voice. Obviously, a lot of business leaders and big businesses supporting this, but it's not being reflected in the polls. What do you make of the business support for it and where it's headed?
Oh, look, I've found over many years that as business leaders or sports leaders stay out of the social issues. The Giants have supported The Voice. We are, in the AFL, extremely concerned about the welfare of our Indigenous brothers and sisters, and we see that as an absolute policy priority. But I think it's up to the individual to make their own decision as to which way they're going to vote on it.
Well, Tony Shepherd, good luck in the finals, and thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
My pleasure, Andrew.